Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Today we are going to discuss infarction. An infarction is an area of ischemic necrosis caused by occlusion of either the arterial supply or the venous drainage. Tissue infarction is a common and extremely important cause of clinical illness. Roughly 40% of all deaths in the US these are caused by cardiovascular disease, and most of the time most of these patients are suffering from MI or cerebral infarction, myocardial infarction or CVA. So these are the major causes of death in advanced countries. After this, pulmonary infarction is also a common complication in many clinical settings. We have discussed this. Thromboembolism, big thrombus from the DVT will go to the right heart and to the lungs. This can straddle the bifurcation, this can block major circulation in the lungs. So this will cause pulmonary infarction. Similarly, bowel infarction is also very important. This may be fatal in many conditions. The intestine can rupture, the contents will be released in the peritoneum, this will result in peritonitis. This may be very dangerous. And ischemic necrosis of the extremities, gangrene. This is a serious problem in the diabetics. Arterial thrombosis or arterial embolism underlies the vast majority of infarctions. Now, arterial thrombosis, like atheroma, this is slowly progressing in size. This can block the coronary artery or other arteries. So this can result in infarction, myocardial infarction. Similarly, arterial embolism. There is some atheroma in the cardiac chambers and the arteries. A part of this is dislodged, then this will block the small arteries in the heart or other, and this can result in arterial embolism. Then less common causes of arterial obstruction include local vasospasm, hemorrhage into an atherosclerotic plaque. The atheroma is slowly progressing and some small capillary will be broken within the atheroma, and there is hemorrhage within the atheroma, and this will certainly increase the size of the atheroma. Or extrinsic vessel contraction, for example by a tumor. So all these conditions, although not so common, but these can cause arterial occlusion and infarction. Similarly, torsion of a vessel, for example testicular torsion or bowel valvulus. Bowel valvulus, when part of the intestine goes into the intestine. So there is compression on the artery, so this can cause vascular occlusion. Other Less common causes are traumatic vascular rupture, this can vascular supply can be compromised by edema or entrapment of the vessel in a hernial sac. All these can result in vascular occlusion and then infarction. Venous thrombosis, although this can also cause infarction, but most of the time the outcome is just a congestion between blood in that area. In this setting, bypass channels rapidly open and permit vascular outflow. Infarcts caused by venous thrombosis are thus more likely in organs with a single efferent vein, like in testes or in ovary. Then morphology, we can classify these infarcts according to the color of the infarct or according to the presence or absence of infection. According to the color, we classify them into red infarcts and white infarcts. Red infarcts, we see these in venous occlusions like testicular torsion, or in loose spongy tissue like in lungs, in tissues with dual circulation, double blood supply like in lungs, in small intestine, or we can see this in tissues previously congested. Or in some cases when we do angioplasty, the flow is re-established and then this tissue can get more and more blood. This is known as re-established blood flow in a previously arterial occlusion and necrosis. There was some necrosis when the blood is re-established due to the angioplasty. We pass the stent, then blood is re-established, then blood will go out in the infarcted area. White infarct, this occurs with arterial occlusion in the solid organs like heart, spleen and kidney, or in organs with end arterial circulation. In these organs, the infarcts tend to be wedge-shaped, with the occluded vessel at the apex and the periphery of the organ forming the base. This will make some sort of triangle. Wedge apex is at the site of occlusion and base, periphery of the organ forming the base. When the base is a serosal surface, there may be an overlying fibrinous exudate resulting from an acute inflammatory response to the mediators released from the injured and necrotic cells. If we see this microscopically, fresh infarcts are poorly defined. maybe you cannot define from where the infarcted area is starting. There may be slight hemorrhagic, this area may be slightly hemorrhagic, but over a few days the margins tend to become better defined by a narrow rim of congestion attributable to inflammation. At the start of this infarcted area, there will be a narrow rim of congestion. With further passage of time, infarcts usually from arterial occlusions in the organs, infarction resulting from arterial occlusion in the organs without a dual blood supply typically become progressively paler and more sharply defined. This will take some day. You can see this picture on your book. This pale area, this is infarcted area. Figure 14.18b. In comparison, in the lungs, hemorrhagic infarcts are the rule. What will happen in the lungs? Extravasated red cells in the hemorrhagic infarcts are phagocytosed by macrophages, which will convert heme iron into hemosiderin. This hemosiderin will be taken up by macrophages. If this is in small quantity, maybe no color change, but if there is a big, large hemorrhage, then this will leave a firm, brown, hemosiderin-rich residue. All the lung architecture, the lung is changed to a brownish colored organ. This is hemosiderin-rich residue. In the dominant histologic characteristic of infarction is ischemic coagulative necrosis. If you know from your chapter 2 injury, what are the characteristics of ischemic coagulative necrosis? Importantly, if the vascular occlusion has occurred shortly, yani within minutes to hours before the death of the patient, histological changes may be absent. It takes 4 to 12 hours for the dead tissue to show microscopic evidence of frank necrosis. This should be in our mind when you are doing this post-mortem examination. Acute inflammation is present along the margins of infarcts within a few hours, and this is usually well defined within 1 to 2 days. Then eventually a reparative response begins in the reserved margins. Reparative response will start from the margin of the peritoneum. In stable or labile tissues, parenchymal regeneration can occur at the periphery where underlying stromal architecture is preserved. parenchymal regeneration will start from the periphery where the parenchyma is intact, but main infarcted area is replaced by collagen deposition, and this will result in scar formation. This is the final result and most of the solid organs. The brain is an exception to these generalizations. We don't know why this happens, but in brain, infarction results in leukofactive necrosis. All this is present in your chapter 2, organs in injury. Septic infarctions. These occur when infected cardiac valve vegetations embolize or when microbes seed necrotic tissue. If the microbe will come there, this will result in abscess formation. If the infected cardiac valves, small vegetation, they will embolize, these will travel to some other area, which can cause infection at some distant area. So this is how septic infarctions occur. Then less common causes of arterial obstruction include local vasospasm, hemorrhage into an atheromatous plaque. The atheroma is slowly progressing and some small capillary will be broken within the atheroma, and there is hemorrhage within the atheroma, and this will certainly increase the size of the atheroma. Or extrinsic vessel contraction, for example by a tumor. So all these conditions, although not so common, but these can cause arterial occlusion and infarction. Similarly, torsion of a vessel, for example, testicular torsion or bowel valvulus. Bowel valvulus, when part of the intestine goes into the intestine. So there is compression on the artery, so this can cause vascular occlusion. Other less common causes are traumatic vascular rupture. This can, vascular supply can be compromised by edema or entrapment of the vessel in a hernial sac. All these can result in vascular occlusion and then infarction. Venous thrombosis, although this can also cause infarction, but most of the time the outcome is just a congestion, increased blood in that area. In this setting, bypass channels rapidly open and permit vascular outflow. Infarcts caused by venous thrombosis are thus more likely in organs with a single efferent vein, like in testes or in ovary. Second factor is rate of occlusion. Slowly developing occlusions are less likely to cause infarction because they provide sufficient time for the development of collateral pathways of perfusion. For example, small interarteriolar anastomosis between coronary arteries, normally with minimal functional flow. This interconnects the three major coronary arteries in the heart. If one of the coronary artery is occluded slowly, how this will be occluded slowly? There is atheroma formation. This may take decades and many years. Slowly this is increasing in size, more and more deposition of cholesterol crystals. So this is atheromatous block. So during this time, flow within this collateral circulation may increase sufficiently to prevent infarction. Sometimes we can see all the coronary artery, a big coronary is blocked, but still there is no infarction. Why? Because there is collateral circulation, and this is sufficient to provide the required minimum oxygen for that area. But this takes time. Rate of occlusion, this is important. Third factor, that is tissue vulnerability to hypoxia. Very important. Neurons undergo irreversible damage when deprived of their blood supply for only 3 to 4 minutes. This is the most sensitive organ, brain. Then myocardial cells, although very sensitive, but still they are better than the neurons. These can die after occlusion of blood supply for 20 to 30 minutes. 20 to 30 minutes of ischemia can result in ischemic necrosis of the cardiac muscle. So there will be ischemic necrosis of cardiac muscle, but if we want to see the histological changes, this can take some hours. In contrast to these two organs, fibroblasts, even fibroblasts and the myocardium, these can remain viable for many hours of ischemia. So, fibroblasts are more resistant to ischemia, so these may be still viable after many hours of occluded blood supply. Another factor is hypoxemia. Abnormally low oxygen content due to any cause. The blood itself is having low oxygen tension, maybe due to anemia or some other defective oxygenation. Of course, this will increase the likelihood of and extent of infarction. Thank you.